Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video we're gonna be talking all about Kai and how you can use him in Guilty Gear Strive. So let's get started. So what type of character is Kai? Kai is pretty much the jack of all trades but a master of none archetype. We here are looking at someone in the same vein as say Ryu from Street Fighter. When you try him out, you'll find that he does have some decent mobility and good air dashes, good back air dash, or at least alright, at least standard. Certainly not the best, but actually pretty nice. You also have some really good buttons. The far slash, this one is in particular is pretty good. The far heavy slash is also pretty nice. They can combo into each other, and then you can combo onto the stun dipper or the slide for some actually good meterless damage. Obviously, if you have some bar, you can combo into the super for some good damage as well. Maybe you will wanna red Roman cancel and drift here to get some good damage. Maybe there are other options, like you can do the flip kick. Obviously, this is like 214 plus K, or you can call it like a Tatsu style kick. Whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it the flip kick, to be honest, because I don't like the official names. So you can do the flip kick and then purple Roman cancel it, and that will actually lead to some good damage here, right? So you get a conversion like that. You're gonna get a jumping combo and then you get to follow up, leading to a ton of damage potential. So his conversions from the mid range are actually pretty powerful. So that is pretty nice. He also have access to two versions of fireballs. There is the default stun edge. This one is quick and it puts your opponent in shock state, so that is pretty nice. There is the heavy one. This one is slower, takes a lot to charge. The idea here is that you want to use this in set play, right? So let's say you knock Ram down like that, you then cancel into it. She's gonna block on wake up or get hit. If she gets hit, you get to continue your combo. If she blocks, you get to either apply a strike or throw mix up, right? That's pretty much the point here. Right, then maybe throw her, etc, etc, etc. You get the point. You also have access to two aerial fireballs. This does have some sizable grounded recovery, so if your opponent is running, you can really get punished, but it does give him some sort of a screen control tool, which is pretty nice, in my opinion. So overall, he have good neutral, good enough space control and good enough conversions, and once you actually get them in the corner, he also can have access to really high damage output because of this forward H or the forward heavy. It wall bounces near the corner, so he can actually get some really cool combos like these, right? And this is a very easy wall break. Look at the damage output. Obviously, this is Guilty Gear Strive. Everyone does a lot of damage output, but the forward heavy actually doing a wall bounce near the corner makes breaking the wall with Kai really easy and really damaging. Now, one of the highlights of Kai as well is his ability to anti-air. Obviously, everyone have a really good forward light or 6L, this is pretty much standard, but what's really good with Kai is his 2H or the crouching heavy slash obviously. This have the jointed hitbox, and because of it, it's actually pretty good as an anti-air, and when it happens to anti-air like that, you get the big counter message, and you can actually get some really big combos here, right? Even meterless, you can get something like this, which is a ton of damage. So is it all perfect for Kai, or does he have some weaknesses? In my opinion, he does have a bunch of weaknesses. The first one is that he actually lacks frame advantage. One of the issues with Kai is that most of his normals are actually negative on block, and most of his attacks are actually pretty punishable in their own right. So let's say for example that Ram is gonna block everything and then she will try to take back her turn. You will find that this attack is one of the most commonly used block string enders, right? This is unsafe. The fireballs are unsafe as well. Obviously the DP is gonna be unsafe. As you can see, I'm getting hitting as counter and I'm actually trying to block, so that is an issue. His only really good plus on block attack is the forward and light. This is a command normal. This is plus on block, so you can use it and then frame trap your opponent, so that is pretty good. But obviously in general, his ability to have really good plus frames is kinda lacking. He also have another issue in my opinion, and that is that his mix-ups are pretty I wanna say they are pretty reliant on Roman cancels. So we said that he wanna do a combo knockdown into the heavy slash stun edge or the heavy fireball and then pressure his opponent, and you pretty much get a strike or throw mix up. But if you want any sort of right left mix up or any sort of something that's really tricky, right, you're gonna have to Roman cancel to get there. So if you want to do some really good meterless mix-ups or some really good meterless mix-up, he doesn't really have that. You have to rely on Roman cancels for these. So that is a little bit of a downside. Finally, one of his biggest upside also is the fact that he does have a TP. This is pretty useful because in this game, once they get knocked down, people go ham on you. Everyone is going ham on offense, especially since it's still a new game. And everyone is trying to run the pressure, so actually having access to a meterless uppercut, a meterless get off me tool is a very good thing. Overall, Kai is a fantastic character in my opinion. You will really learn the game when you are using him, and I actually highly recommend starting out with him, especially if you're coming from another game like say Street Fighter. So as we always do, let's start talking about the character normal attacks, and I'm gonna start first with the 5L or the neutral light. This is pretty good with Kai. It is on the faster side at 5 frames, combos into the 6L, and then you combo into the Dire Elect. It's pretty good that he have a meterless knockdown combo, which is not very common in Strive from lights, obviously, that's what I mean. And one of the good things about it is that because it hits high, and it is kind of fast, it makes it a pretty good, I want to say like panic anti-air, right? So let's say that he's jumping like that. Notice that because it's fast, you can hit them out of the air, right? So that is pretty good. One of the things that you have to consider though is that this is not, this is a high. So if they are crouching, it's gonna go over their head. You have to be very aware of that. It's one of its main weaknesses. Also, this is not plus on block. So if your opponent say here Soul is gonna be blocking and then he's gonna try to challenge, right? So obviously because of the Gatling system, you can delay your Gatling and catch him on a counter hit, right? But let's say we want to do a jab and then throw him after, you are gonna get hit out of it, right? Because you are not plus on block. Very important to know, the jab here is -2. I know many players are coming from Street Fighter where you take a light and then try to throw your opponent. Doesn't really work that way with this one. You're gonna get hit out of it, so that is important to know. But again, you can delay your timing on the Gatlings and get counter hits, or obviously if you just do Dire Elect like that, you can actually get some frame traps with it. The crouching L is pretty much the same deal. It's also 5 frames, I believe, and this one is kind of the same deal pretty much for the most part, minus the anti-air. Also negative on block, you get pretty much the same combos, so it is the same thing minus the anti-air bar, but obviously it works on crouching opponent. Now next up, we're gonna talk about the kicks, and his 5K or the regular kick. This is actually a really good and important attack for him. Like everyone else, it is jump cancelable. And one of the things about this is that it actually hits way higher than it looks. So for example, let's say we're gonna do a red Roman cancel. Notice how high, like the hitbox is way bigger than it seems, right? And one of the cool things about this is that it's actually a low. It's a standing low. So your opponent have to block crouching, despite it being an attack that is done from a standing position, which look visually confusing and might deceive your opponent, right? Most players will expect that this is a mid, but it's actually a low, right? And obviously you can combo it into the 2D and then delay cancel into the stun edge for conversions like these. That is one of the key ideas. And one of the best things about the 5K is that it is pretty active, right? It's very active, so it's very good to use as a meaty, right? If you don't know how to meaty your opponent well, notice that this attack is super active, making it one of the best attacks to use in meaty situations. And obviously the jump cancel property is gonna be really good to use in combos and in set play situation, right? So it is a pretty good attack overall. The 5K or the 2K or the crouching kick, this one is pretty useful. It pretty much again follows the same Gatling. You're gonna combo it into sweep and then the heavy stun edge for knockdown. But one of the cool things about this is that it have more range than his 5k. Both of these have the same speed, but the crouching one have more range. And this makes it particularly useful in a certain situations that's pretty good. When you put someone in shock state, you can get a conversion like that one, right? And you can get this to combo, right? And after the flip kick combos, the crouching L or the crouching kick, this will actually combo after that. I don't believe this combo work actually on Soul, the 2H into the flip kick. I don't think this actually combos, but it combos on most of the cast, and you can get a conversion like that one on them, which is pretty nice, right? So if they are in shock state, you happen to land this flip kick, you can then get this conversion. If you try to do that with the regular 5k, it might whiff, right? Because the range isn't fantastic. So that is a pretty good use for it, and probably gonna be one of your main uses. But obviously, it is still a good low with some decent range, and the main idea here is to cancel into the crouching dust. Now, next up, let's talk about his far range slash, because this is gonna be one of your main footsies too. And this is pretty good. This is really good actually, for many reasons. First of all, you can get some good conversions out of it, because meterless, it can combo into his far slash, and then you get stun dipper. Maybe you will want a Roman cancel and continue on with your combos. I showed some combos in the overview, so you got the ideas. And one of the good things here is that this is actually this frame traps from far range into his it frame trap into his heavy slash. So here Soul is blocking, he's gonna try to take back his turn, but notice that this will counter, and you will get the big counter message. So then you can purple Roman cancel the and continue on with your combo, right? You can get even more than that. You can even get a medium into heavy here normal. So on a counter hit like that one, you can get so much out of this. So this is really good. And obviously you can just harass them with the medium into stun dipper. As you can see, the range is actually pretty fantastic. But honestly, this being a counter hit that could be hit confirmed easily and lead into as much as it does is actually pretty powerful. This is one of the best things about it. And you're gonna be using a lot of this, right? A lot of medium slash into heavy slash. The heavy slash is slower, but it is safer. So it is better, like let's say if he's blocking everything and not taking back his turn, and let's say that he's not gonna take back his turn, so it is typically better to do that just to be safe, right? Because this is pretty unsafe on block, and the fireball is pretty unsafe on block as well, but you wanna create as much distance as possible, so this is a good sequence. As you can see, a ton of pushback on that one, so that is pretty nice. So this is one of his key neutral pokes. You're gonna be doing a lot of far slash with Kai. Now next, let's talk about his close slash, and this is pretty much your punisher. This is your punish attack. This is what you're gonna use if your opponent, let's say, dropped something or you got a jumping combo, right? You're gonna combo into the close slash, and the close slash can be done into so many things. If say you have momentum, you're running, you can do it into crouching, into heavy slash, you can do it into heavy slash direct up close, and then for example combo into the dire elect. If you're near the corner, you can do it and then combo into the forward slash, and as you can see, can lead to some really good loops like we showed in the overview. So this is your main, I wanna say this is like your bread and butter combo starter. Obviously I'm gonna be leaving a combo section at the end, but this is gonna be like your main bread and butter combo tool of sorts, right? Will lead to most of your most damaging combo, and it's what you will wanna be using if you happen to land a jumping, right? There, and then you get some really good damage out. And that makes it really powerful. Now the crouching one is also kind of the same deal. This attack have good range, as you can see. It's actually pretty nice. It's also kind of the same deal here. You can use it and then frame trap into the heavy slash. So again, he's gonna be blocking, and then we are gonna do him trying to take back his turn with a medium. So this is pretty much the same deal, just have a little bit less range. Still pretty fantastic, but it is good, and it have more range than the typical forward slash. So this even hits from further distance. I wanna whiff punish him with that one. Maybe a little bit faster, yeah, and you can get some really cool whiff punish with that one. And one of the cool things about it is that this is a low, right? So it's a low, it have good range, frame traps into his heavy slash. You can kind of hit confirm it as well if you happen to land this to hit. So for example, let's say that we got this like that one. Again, can get some pretty good conversions out of that. So it's a pretty good attack and have decent startup. At 10 frames, the startup is actually pretty okay. It's not bad at all in my opinion. Certainly useful and certainly one of his key neutral tools in my opinion. And it's even a little bit faster than the 4S, right? So it is a pretty powerful attack. Now let's talk about his heavies and the heavy slash. This is slower than the 4S, but it is safer. So if you want to end your pressure with it, this is pretty good. And as you can see, there is a ton of pushback on this one. So if you are trying to poke with the forward slash or the far slash, I would recommend actually doing this. Not even because of the counter hit, just because you actually get to really push back your opponent and make yourself safe, because this is pretty unsafe by itself. So this is a good idea. And like you've seen, if it happened to hit from a far distance even, you can get some really good conversions out of this, right? So you can get some really good conversions like the one you just see. So this heavy slash is actually pretty amazing. You can even do that by itself actually, right? So by itself, let's say right. So by itself, you can get a knockdown like that one and actually get a ton of damage, right? This is really good damage out of a heavy slash. So it is a pretty good normal overall, and obviously getting the big counter out of it is gonna be the main use. It's gonna be what you really wanna do for the most part. Now let's talk about the crouching heavy, and the crouching heavy is really good. This is one of his best anti-airs, and you're gonna be using it a lot in combos, especially after a Roman cancel, because it pops them up a little bit. So let's say that we got a Roman cancel like that one, you're gonna be doing a close slash, right, into a crouching heavy slash. It's gonna pop them up a little bit, and because of this pop up, you can actually combo into the flip kick and then whatever you want. It makes it very easy to combo into the flip kick. And if you're near the corner, like let's say we are near the corner here, let's say we pose them in shock state, right, you can combo something like let's say you can get here an uppercut and then get to continue your combo, right? So it's pretty good for combos. It's like comboing with this is gonna be one of the main tools. Again, because it launches them a little bit high, you actually get to use it in combos. And like I showed earlier in the intro, it's also one of his best anti-air tools. You can use it easily to anti-air your opponent because it has a disjointed hitbox. Obviously, it is a little bit slower than the 6L, so this one is a lot more consistent. But again, this is still really good. Like the disjointed hitbox, along with its ability to get you get the big counter message, which makes it really useful to use as an anti-air, right? So even something this simple can lead to a ton of damage. So this is gonna be used in combos like I showed and as an anti-air. Pretty good normal overall, certainly one of his best, right? Obviously it does have some form of recovery, so if your opponent jumps over you, so let's say Soul is too close and he jumps over me, right, you can get punished if you overshoot it, so you have to be a little bit careful with this one. Now finally we have the 5D regular dust. I mean this is pretty typical overhead. You're gonna be using it in some combos. It is obviously unsafe on block, and if you happen to hold it, you get to do a big aerial combo. So that is pretty nice, but again, this is a pretty generic and pretty standard overhead. Doesn't really lead to that much. Now the sweep for him or the crouching D, this is pretty important because like we showed earlier, again you can delay cancel it into the heavy stun edge for good knockdown OQ. So that's gonna be one of its main uses. Obviously combo from many of his attack, and the range on it is actually pretty nice. As you can see, it even hits a little bit further than it looks. So it have about the same range, I would say, as his, maybe not as much as the forward slash or the far slash, but it is deceptive, right? Like it does hit from further than it seems like it would. So it is pretty good, and obviously leads to good knockdown. So all of these attacks are actually really useful. Overall, he has some really good normals. Now let's talk about the command normals. Obviously, we talked first about the 6L. This is gonna be used as an anti-air. This is gonna be one of its main uses, and obviously you can use it to combo out of lights, right? So you're gonna do some lights into the 6L, even close slash. You can do that into 6L if you want. It easily combo into his dire elect or this attack, gonna put the opponent in shock state. Obviously can even combo it into stun dipper, but because of the range, the second hit of the slide might be difficult to get, but obviously it is possible as you're just seeing. So this is gonna be used a lot in combos, and it's gonna be used a lot as an anti-air and even as a frame trap tool. So again, let's say he's gonna be blocking and he's gonna try to take back his turn with a jab, right? You will be able to frame trap your opponent with that stuff, right? Especially if you happen to delay it. So these are gonna be some of its main uses. Now the next one is the 6K. And 6K or forward kick, this is plus on block. So think of it as trying to take back your turn. Obviously, if you try to do any normal into 6K, it's way too slow and it doesn't combo on hit. So let's say for example that the opponent is actually not even blocking. Notice this is not comboing out of anything, right? K even into 6K, nothing's really comboing. What you wanna do with this one is it's like if you're eager for a frame trap, because this is plus on block. This is actually plus on block, right? So think of it as trying to take, like you're trying to pretty much steal a turn. Like you doing something into the 6K, you're pretty much maintaining your turn, but like you've seen, your opponent have to sit there and block it. It's one of his main plus on block tools. It's pretty much his only actually plus on block normal. So that's gonna be used a lot, especially if you wanna start on your pressure. But I mean, I've been finding it pretty difficult to use, to be honest, because it is too slow. Like it's very hard to get your opponent to stand and block this one. Maybe as a meaty, I can kinda use it, but it's hard to time. More often than not, you get thrown. So I've been finding it difficult to actually get to use it. The only ways is actually if I do something like this and the opponent doesn't challenge. So let's here have soul no challenge, right? This is pretty much the main tools the main ways I've been getting to use it, but this is pretty difficult. It's like something you do once every now and then, and maybe your opponent will not notice, right? And the final normals that Kai have is the forward and heavy, and this is pretty useful especially in the corner because it wall bounces, so you can use it for corner combos like that one, right? Like I showed this combo multiple times. It is very useful for that. And even then, like let's say for example you knock them down, let's say even you throw them, you can always do like far slash, or let's say after sweep for example, far slash into fireball, right? Like this will be able to reset them, and then you get to actually like meaty them with a fireball. That's one of the main uses. And obviously even in the corner you can get this one like that one and then charge it and pretty much use it as a sort of set play tool. So let's quickly talk about his jumping attacks, and first we're gonna start with the jump K. And the jump K is a really good air to air. You will find that if your opponent is jumping in on you, this is pretty good air to air, and it is jump cancelable and dash cancelable, so you can do it and then dash, and it have a gatling into the jump B. So what's happening here is that because it's a really good air to air, you can dash into it and then you can, like for example, air to air, dash into medium and then uppercut, You can use it in jump bins, for example, jump here with it, and then air dash, and then do another one, or maybe jump into air dash into a low, so something like that, right? Or maybe dash into air dash into the air dust for like a triple overheads. So you can do a lot with it, right? And this makes it very versatile and pretty good to use in pressure, in my opinion. Doing this has been one of my favorite things to do with Sky basically. Obviously you can go low, or you can go with the overhead, and then you can actually roam and cancel here, right, and actually get a grounded hit. So this is a pretty good mix-up. Now the next one is gonna be the jumping slash, and jumping slash is also pretty good air to air. It have a lot of horizontal hitbox. It obviously gatlings into his jump H, and one of the good things about it is that it's also dash cancelable. So again, if you happen to air with it, you can get a conversion like that one. Obviously it is special cancelable as well. So this is actually a pretty good air to air attack, and you can even use it to obviously combo from jumps, right? So like for your air dash from far distance, you can do something like that. It's gonna be one of your best buttons for that, right? Obviously the frame advantage here isn't fantastic. You're gonna get more frame advantage if you jump with the far slash or the jumping slash, which I'm gonna get into now. Now this one is gonna be like your main jumping like tool. Like if the intent here is to get a grounded combo, this one gives you the easiest and the most frame advantage. So the combo follow-up that you're gonna get after a jumping heavy, this is gonna be the best. Now one of the things about this one is that if it happened to hit an airborne opponent, it actually spikes them to the ground, right? So let's say for example that we got an air, right? If you happen to hit it, the jumping heavy spikes them to the ground, so you can't really follow up after it. So if you want to do like an uppercut, I would suggest actually doing it after the jumping slash. Now the final one is gonna be the jump dust. This is pretty good for multiple reasons. It delays your landing, so that is pretty good. The fact that it delays your landing. Obviously again also have a really big hitbox because of the electricity, right? And because of its ability to actually be a gatling from the jumping kick, like I showed earlier, it actually have a lot of potential for mix-ups like this. Like that was a very low to the ground overhead, and like we showed earlier, you can actually you can roam and cancel here and actually get even grounded combos out of it. You will not get some regular conversions here. Like if you happen to jump in, hit it in the air like that, it's very hard to actually get a grounded combo, even as low as you do here. But you will need to like roam and cancel here to actually get some good damage, right? So that is kind of a drawback, but even being able to delay your landing like that one is pretty good, and obviously a lot of potential in mix. So let's now talk about Kai's special moves briefly, and the first one I'm gonna talk about is his stun edge or the fireball. This is a pretty standard fireball. It is pretty fast, so you're just gonna be using it in the neutral just to shake your opponent. And one of the good things about it is that it puts the opponent in shock state. Regularly the attack that have electricity on them, that have the electricity effect, put that shock state effect on the opponent. And here, take a look at Ram. Currently there is nothing around her, right? My fireball is doing 31 damage, and look now, there is some electric sparks that happened when she got hit by it. Now this is the shock state effect, and this shock state effect pretty much buffs Kai's special moves. So for example, regularly the slash fireball is doing 31 damage. If I happen to apply the shock state effect, right, so notice the sparks around her. The fireball that used to be doing 31 is now doing 35, and obviously you are doing even more ship damage. And one of the cool things here is that this is applied even on block. So let's say for example that she's gonna be blocking, we're gonna do a sequence like that one, right? Then use the shock state, and hey, I actually was able to apply it even when she was blocking. So even when she was blocking, I still managed to apply the shock state effect. So that is pretty good. Like you can use it and be as safe as possible. Now obviously, aside from just using it in the neutral and block strings, you can even use it in combos as well. You can Berber Roman cancel it, right? and actually manage to like combo into it and then follow up with how you want next, right? So that's like a potential combo route. There are a ton of combos, and I will be doing a combo section at the end, so you can check this one out. So you can use it in combos if you utilize the purple Roman cancel, and obviously even in the neutral like that one, and just following up with it and pressuring your opponent, right? Now the next fireball is the heavy one, and again this can be used in the same effect. Obviously it is slower, but you can also use it to just push your opponent to the corner, so that's pretty good. Like we said multiple times now, it is really good in meaty situations. It's pretty much self-explanatory what we can do with it, and we talked over it already multiple times. Now the next special is gonna be the let's talk about the dial elect first, because I want to talk about the attacks that put the shock state first. And this one is pretty much a combo ender. You don't want to do this attack on block, because some characters will be able to punish it. So for example here Ram is one of the prime examples. If I do it like that, man, I'm getting punished. Notice this say punish, right? So maybe you can space it if the effect is already applied, but if it's not, like if the effect is already on, then it can be safe. But if you just want to do it on block like that one to just apply the effect, you're gonna get punished. So you have to be careful of that, right? If the effect is already on, it can be safer, but if the effect is not on, it is punishable. So you have to be careful, right? But this is an attack, in my opinion, that you wanna hit confirm into. So let's say that you happen to get any hit, right? Then you combo into it, meterless, gets a knockdown, and get to apply the shock state in your opponent. So that is a pretty powerful effect. Obviously regularly it does 42 damage. If we happen to apply the shock state effect, it's gonna be doing 46, so you're doing a little bit more damage with it. So that's pretty nice. It's a pretty straightforward attack in all honesty. Now the next ones are gonna be the flippy kick and the sweep, right? And the flippy kick is pretty good because this attack is actually safe on block. So let's say for example that the opponent having to block everything again. Ram is gonna try to take back her turn. Unfortunately we don't have frame data here, so this is the best that we can go for right now. Now take a look at this, right? If I try to block here, I get to block safely. If she happened to block it at the last possible frames, we get a trade, and if she happened to be crouching, actually Kai is gonna be plus in this instant. So let's say that she's gonna be crouching and blocking. Let's try one more time. Yeah. And we even traded counters, right? As you can see, he was plus. It's obviously pretty hard to time because of the lack of training mode showing you the frame data, but this, as you can see, is even plus on block, right? And one of the cool things about it is if you happen to apply the shock state, you're even more plus. Like I was so plus that my jab actually jailed, right? So notice that there is an extra effect that happened on block, like the red effect. So he was so plus that even my medium is trading now, right? Like the regular slash, and the kick will actually even frame trap. See, like even the kick as a counter. So when they are in shock state and if they happen to block this one, you are actually able to do a lot of damage. So this is actually gonna be one of the main uses. Like let's say you put them in shock state like that, bam, fly in like Superman, and hey, they are stuck in block stun there. They have to take their next normal, especially if they block it crouching. Now on hit, this is pretty good. It's gonna be one of your main combo tools, especially let's say off of a red Roman cancel. It has a lot of corner carry. You're gonna be doing a lot of this with Kai in particular, crouching heavy into this attack. Even for example when they are in the corner, right? It's gonna be used a lot. One of his main combo attacks as well. And like we showed earlier, like you can use it and then purple Roman cancel. If like for example you're doing something like that one, and get some follow-up airborne hit like we showed in the overview. I'm gonna be showing you again some more combos in the combo section later, but this is one of its uses as well. And one of the cool things about it is that, let's say regularly you got the hit like that, you are a little bit further away from your opponent and nothing is really comboing, right? But if you happen to be if they happen to be in the shock state effect, like let's put the shock state again, like let's say the shock state is on, when you happen to land with it, the 5k or the 2k will actually combo, right? So if you happen to land it, you can actually get to follow up with the knockdown and then get your pressure continuing. So that is actually pretty nice. It's really good regularly, and in shock state it's actually amazing. Now the other attack is the slide. This is pretty good. It low profiles. So let's say for example that she's gonna try to throw something here. The slide will go under it. It have a lot of range, and it can be spaced to be hard to punish. It is unsafe of course, but it can be spaced to be hard to punish. But let's have her try to punish with a medium. Right? So with some spacing like that, it can be hard to punish. So that's pretty good, right? You can use it in the neutral like that. Obviously gonna be used a lot in combos. Can easily combo into it if you want from a medium into heavy slash or regular into heavy slash. This is like one of the easiest combos. Even if you want to do like something into sweep into it, that again is one of the easiest combos. And obviously you can red Roman cancel it here and follow up if you want. So it's gonna be used a lot on combos to low profile and in the neutral just as a poke, because like I said, you can actually space it to be relatively safe. Now the final special that Kai have is gonna be his uppercuts, and the uppercut is really good. This is invincible, so you're gonna be using it mostly defensively. It does a lot of damage in combos, but it is kind of difficult to combo into. So let's remove the shock state, because I actually want to show you something here. Both of the medium and heavy one are invincible. I don't recommend anti-airing with them because the opponent can block. But let's say for example that Ram is gonna be doing something like let's say jumping attack like that, and let's say that you happen to anti-air with a crouching heavy. It's not a bad idea to put an anti-air here because you are getting a lot of damage. So DPs are mostly gonna be used defensively and in combos. Now one cool thing about the heavy Dragon Punch is that if they happen to be in shock state and they happen to be near the corner, you can actually follow up with it. So regularly, for example, but let me show you the regular version first. So regularly, if they are in the corner, let's say you happen to land this, he auto resets and you don't really get much. But if they happen to be in shock state, they're gonna get juggled way higher, which means that you actually get to follow up combos. So again, this shows you just how good the shock state effect is, right? Let's say you happen to apply it now. This is gonna be a little bit too far, but let's do an effect like that one. Go for the uppercut, and then you get to continue on your combo, and bam, bada boom, and you're getting a ton of damage, right? Look at how much damage we got out of a DP because they were in shock state, right? Really massive damage. So overall, shock state is pretty good. You want to put your opponent in shock state as much as possible. One thing I have to comment on, and I have to just mention this quickly. Obviously, some attacks put the opponent in shock state and some of them remove that effect. So the regular fireball or the stun edge, the charged stun edge, and the tire elect, all three of them put the opponent in the shock state, right? And the slide will remove the shock state. The flippy kick will remove the shock state, and the uppercut will also remove the shock state. But like we showed, you actually get to convert out of the heavy one in the corner. So the one that induces electricity will apply the effect, and the ones that you can use to get advantage out of them, like they kinda cash in on that effect. So that is important to know. So let's now check out Kai's supers. The first one I'm gonna talk about is the Sacred Edge. This is pretty much the Shinku Hadouken type super. It is double fireballs, and it is gonna be this big ass fireball attack. It's pretty good because it actually combos from the maximum far range S. So The thing about this is that from maximum far range S, the heavy slash will whiff, right? But you actually get to combo into the Sacred Edge. It's pretty much like I said, the Shinku Hadouken style. Maybe from here like you can get the slide, but this is an easier hit confirm in my opinion and way safer. It applies the shock state when it hits, so notice it did 130 damage. Now there are some sparks around her. If the character, the opponent, was already in shock state, notice that it's doing 150, so it's doing 20 more damage once they are in shock state. And obviously use 50% of your tension gauge. Now one of the cool things about it is that, let's say even like from further range, if they are in the corner like that, you do it from maximum range slash, right? You will get the wall break and get your extra tension gauge, so that is pretty nice. Now the other attack is gonna be the Raidu's lightning, right? And this is a fantastic super. Obviously it does a lot of damage, but also have so much corner carry. And because it has so much corner carry, it's easy to get the wall break and easy to get them to the corner. Like let's say that I am the one who's cornered, right? I'm gonna combo into it, and let's take a look where Melia ends up, right? She ended up at the opposite wall. So even if you use it as a reversal, you can almost carry your opponent wall to wall. Let's say she's gonna do a meaty sequence here, right? Here she's gonna try to go for double meaties. Now I'm gonna wake up with it, and it is fully invincible, so you can use it as a reversal and again get a ton of damage and corner carry with it. And obviously it's very easy to use in combos as well, very easy to hit confirm into, combos consistently from his attacks, have a lot of range and fast startup. There is even an aerial version, so you can like use the lightning even if you're in the air, but obviously it might whiff like that, but it is still pretty good. There is an aerial option. Also it is invincible. So both of these are really cool super and pretty much covers most of the utility. Now Kai actually have a third super, and this one have a specific condition. He have to be at 25% health or less. And let's put him here at 25%, maybe it's easier to go the other way around. Yep. So once he's in 25% or less, notice the red lightning around Kai, right? And once he's in that state, he can actually enter use an install super called Dragon Install, right? It is this one. The initial attack have a spark or like that explosion thing around it, so this can like hit your opponent. So let's say for example you can combo into it like that, which is pretty nice. At least you can kinda make it safe or combo into it. Obviously this has some recovery, so if you do it in the neutral like that and your opponent is close, they can actually punish you, so you have to be careful. But once the Dragon Install is applied, Kai is actually really powerful. It buffs him a lot in my opinion. Now what's gonna happen is most of his special attacks will actually improve. So you're gonna find that the like let's say for example the fireballs, they're gonna be multiple hits. What was doing like 59, look at this, it's now doing 80 damage. The stun dibber is also gonna be better. This attack, notice it like it's doing a lot more. So let's turn it on and off just for comparison sake, right? So the regular fireball here is doing 57, right? 57. Now in the Dragon Install, take a look at how much damage it's doing. 80. We went from 57 to 80, and it even on block is doing a ton of damage, right? Like let's say for example she's blocking, look at how much ship damage this is doing kind of crazy ship damage. And the same for the Dial Elect, like everything's doing ship damage. This is now gonna be plus on block, and so plus on block it's actually kind of ridiculous. Like let's here have her try to challenge, right? So she's gonna try to challenge, we're gonna do our attack. Notice this, like the crouching heavy is actually jailing. Not even in shock state, just the regular flippy kick is actually jailing Melia, right? Like she's so blessed that the jab was actually jailing her. So you get some ridiculous plus on block frames. You get some really cool juggles, like let's say for example that your opponent is in the corner and you happen to land the heavy uppercut. It's pretty much like the juggle state thing where you can combo after it here. So let's add one more time. Notice that you can get some juggle in this instant, which is actually pretty cool. But it is kind of difficult, right? So you actually get some really cool added bonuses here. And obviously just the added chip damage, and just look at the damage from the regular fireball. It's kind of ridiculous, man. It's really ridiculous. And obviously this become easier to combo into. Everything is doing more hits, more damage. It's just better across the board. Now, one of the things that you have to note about the Dragon install is that there is a significant drawback to it. Once you actually activate the Dragon install, the meter or the tension gauge building gets significantly reduced, right? So notice that Kai is almost not building any tension gauge at all. It's building up very slowly. So he gets a lot more powerful. Like notice even one flippy kick was actually enough to break the wall. It's kind of ridiculous, right? So even though he does get really good benefits, the lack of gaining tension gauge is a significant drawback in my opinion. And obviously because you get to do this at 25% HP, it also makes it kind of hard to pull some comebacks, but it is pretty good. Again, in my opinion, it is a pretty good super. Certainly helpful and something you should try to use once you actually get to that low amount of HP. But again, because the activation itself is unsafe anyway, it can be tricky to actually get to use it or activate it and be safe. And that is pretty much it for today's video. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. Again, I will be leaving a combo section at the end showing you some of the basic combos that you can use with this character. And let me know if you have enjoyed this and would like to see more. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon page and the Discord server page in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.
Sky, groping for the light, like a crying for the moon. Never ending ride, forgot what I want, never held my heart to me. That's why I go forward, don't look back. I can't believe in the path I'm on. Fate, pride, so what do I have to be? Sacred fires, never stop, just go. I don't care how many more gotta get. Bearing the pain.